I used to think when I started teaching that learning activities needed to be complicated to be super engaging. And as I continued on that journey, I came to understand and realize both in my teaching and in the homeschooling journey that simple could be engaging, and in fact, sometimes is best. And so if that sounds like something that really would open up your world in whatever situation you have, whether you're homeschooling or just want to help your little at home, then I invite you to go ahead and subscribe, because that's what this channel is all about. It's all about giving you engaging and simple strategies that you can take right back to your child. It's not going to be super complicated. They're not going to be super expensive. And they're things that I have done myself with a lot of success, both with children over the course of my teaching, as well as with my own boys when they were littles. And now they're bigs. All right, this activity in this episode is all about helping your little hear the sounds at the beginning of the word. And you'll see, and I cover this in other episodes, but I tend to use tactile strategies or kinesthetic movement strategies to help littles hear those sounds. Because remember, our littles are in a concrete phase. And when we're teaching them about how a sound goes with a letter, that is actually a very abstract concept in many ways. And so we want to make that as reachable. And so if they can feel their learning, that's the soda shop. That's what you want. And in this case, we're also making it play-based and very interactive. This is something that you can do with your child and make it engaging and fun and a game. Let's say for our purposes today that you have a child that's having a hard time understanding and hearing the difference between the DR blend and the TR blend. And that is actually a very common problem. When we get to consonant blends, it's often one of the first steps that children take outside their 3-sound words. And that can be really tricky, especially when they are using those sounds to spell and to write. Giving them a practice activity like this is going to help them have that repetition of practice and engage them in a hands-on strategy. All right, so if you have a child that's having a hard time hearing, for instance, in this case, the difference between the TR, ter, and the DR, der, then what we would do is we would have $2 store buckets, a whiteboard marker, and in this case, I have some little realia objects. These are a set that come in a box like this. It's a company called Junior Learning, and I actually bought 3 boxes, and there were even some mighty E words, and I've gone ahead and selected some little minis that have DR and TR blends on them. They're just the pictures because we want to focus our child's attention on hearing the sounds. And this is something that not a lot of people know about learning to read, but our children are learning language and sound knowledge from birth. They are exploring sounds and how language works from their very beginning of babbling and repeating those sounds and muscle movements. And so when we are talking about transitioning to reading and writing and spelling with actually concrete written letters, it's often helpful for us to take a step back and just have the child focus on hearing those sounds. And we call this phonemic awareness. This is part of that phonological phonemic awareness component that really gives children the foundation to carry into real reading and has been shown to long-term be a predictor of reading success all the way into like 3rd and 4th grade when children transition from learning to read to reading to learn. So super important. Know that you are not wasting time when you take time just to have your child listen to the sounds. All right, let's get going. So I went ahead and left these buckets blank because I wanted just to show you how simple it is. And in this case, we're going to sort words that start with a dir, a dr, and a tur, tr. And you can hear how tricky that might be, especially for a new learner. And we get a lot of children that mix those up in spelling. So this is the perfect way to model this. So I would put the tr consonant blend on one bucket. And the nice thing about these whiteboard markers is that you can wipe them off with some rubbing alcohol or a little clean wipe that you have. It comes off fairly easy as long as you don't let it sit for a really long time. And then on this bucket, we're going to put the D. Oops. In my best teacher writing. And the R. Okay, so the DR blend. Now, we take our little mighty miniatures, and if you don't want to buy a set, you can cut pictures out of a magazine, however you want to do it. But in any case, so I have a treasure chest. Call your child's attention to that beginning. Treasure chest. Ooh, I hear the t. Treasure chest. I hear the TR blend, and so we're sorting. And this is going to be a repetition of practice over and over again. I want to caution you not to repeat the sound at the beginning. I know I did emphasize it a little bit there, and sometimes that happens. It's not a major deal, but in order to be very precise, we do want to focus on saying the letter sound only one time. All right. Drum. You'd say the word with them. Drum. Ooh, what do I hear at the beginning of drum? Ooh, I hear the d. And I have movements that I have taught students to go along with letter sounds, and so that's why you might see little movements as I go. But drum. Ooh, that's the D at the beginning, the DR blend. And you would put drum in the DR bucket. Same with tree. You're going to focus their attention at the beginning. Tree. I heard the T at the beginning. That's the TR blend. And so you're really giving them the opportunity to repetitively practice and differentiate between the two. They're analyzing, and they're going to take this skill back to their writing because they're getting the practice over and over again. And with that, I'll see you next time when I teach to your students learning strengths, one child and family at a time.